you've seen all the pictures, the beautiful pictures that people have been taking on Final Fantasy XIV, and you want to know how to do it. So this is the complete guide on how to take glamorous pictures in Final Fantasy XIV. The first step in doing that is to actually learn how to take pictures in-game in the first place, which is actually super easy. You can just go down to any chats, and you can type /gpose. And if you hit enter, it will bring you into the picture taking little doohickey here, and there's a bunch of settings you can go through: zoom in, zoom out, turn the camera. If you hit 1, you can pause everything. If you hit 2, it would only pause your character's animations, so you can get those juicy combat shots if you want. Another thing you can do to make taking pictures a little faster and a little smoother, instead of typing it into the chat bar, is to actually make a macro like I have right here. I just named it cam, and I can just click this and it'll take me straight into G-pose. So how you do that is if I hit escape and I go to my user macros, and right here I just used one of the random ones that you can make any of these. You can make apparently you can make 99 of these. I don't know who has 99 macros, but if you are a psychopath, you can do that. But if you just want to go in here, I will make another one and hit /gpose. And now I can take this and I can put it on my hotbar, and it will just put me right into G-pose. So I'm all set to take pictures. It's a little faster. If you are doing combat shots and you're getting all of this fancy effects here, this little button up here will toggle the effects on and off. So now if she does the animation again, there's none of that going on. And I can pause time in the middle of it. Boom. And there we go. We got a fancy pose here. We can also mess with the lighting tab as well, but I have these turned very, very far down because they usually are up here somewhere. And if I push these all the way to the top and I hit a button, you can see it completely just blasts me in the face with light. And no one's taking pictures like that. So if you bring them all the way down, it gives you a little bit of light, but you know, not a ridiculous amount, just enough to light up your face a little bit, and it looks a little cleaner that way in my opinion. Another thing you can do as well is just mess with this character lighting thing, whatever you want to call it, whatever it's called. And this also helps tremendously for getting those good shots. If you have minions and stuff, or other people around you and you're taking a picture in a public area, you can also toggle on and off what is around you, even yourself if you're taking a picture of maybe somebody else. So maybe I want my minion gone, I can just toggle my minion or toggle everything off but myself, which is usually what I do. But you know, sometimes I really want to just have my butterfly in the picture. He's pretty cute. So now you know how to use the in-game G-pose picture taker, but now you want to learn how to get your game as pretty as mine, as sexy and as smooth as mine. So I'm going to teach you how to do that right now. So to start off, we're going to need G-shade. You can use reshade, but there is no reason not to use G-shade. It is just a way more advanced and better version of reshade for Final Fantasy XIV. I believe you can also use this for other games, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, we're going to use this. So you just go to somewhere, download, and it will install like any other process would, and it should find your game for you. If for whatever reason it doesn't find your game for you, it's super easy. You just go to installations and add new, and you will make sure it finds your DX11EXE in your game folder. The easiest way to get to that is actually, if you have this downloaded to Steam, to right click, go to manage, and to go to browse local files, and it will pop up here. Boop. And you can just copy this address and paste it into G-posers, and boom, it found your game. It's that simple. I actually lied. You'll want to make sure you click inside the game folder first and make sure you find the DX11, but same thing. So that's basically it. You now have G-shade installed. If you want to get really, really crazy and you think you have a high NPC, or that your graphics card can handle it. You can get something that's kind of like fake ray tracing from this dude right here. If you subscribe to his Patreon, I believe for $5, you will get it if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, and you can just download it and you will install it a little differently, and I will go into that. So if you did get this optional file, you'll get an archive. You can use 7-zip or WinRAR to extract it to your desktop or wherever you would like these files, and you're going to get a shaders file and a textures file. If you go back into Steam or anywhere that you will find your game directory folder, and you go back into your game, G-Shade presets and shaders will be in here. If you go into shaders, you will drop this shaders into this folder, and you'll drop the textures into the textures folder, and it is that simple. So now we're back in game, and if everything installed properly, which it should have, you should have a message appear along the top of your screen stating that it did install properly, and to hit Shift F2 to pop it up. So if we do that now, we're going to get a shit ton of options. Yours shouldn't look this cluttered. You should not have anything. It should ask you if you want to take a tutorial on how to use it. By all means, if you do, you should totally do that. But if not, you'll just hit skip and I'll teach you how to do it here. So the first thing you're going to want to do is actually hit the settings tab, and you're going to want to go down to your screenshot key right here, and you're going to change it to really whatever key you want. I have mine on the numpad negative. It makes it a little easier because it's not a button that toggles or does anything in game that I'm aware of, at least. So when I'm in G-pose and I'm taking the picture, it shouldn't lock onto anyone else or, you know, cause any problems. So that's why I used that, and that's really the only setting you're going to want to change in here. So then if we go back to the home tab, and yours should look a lot like this when you click on here. So these are all the presets that installed when you installed G-Shade. Feel free to go through all of these. There is a metric fuck ton of these to go through, so by all means explore. But if you want your game to look basically just like mine, you'll want to go to the G-Shade folder here. Oops, did not mean to click that fast. So the G-Shade one, and then I use the cyan prism, and that is what mine looks like. And then the only thing that I've changed up here on this side, so yours will have a few more things checkmarked, is I have unchecked marked the levels. I don't like levels for taking some pictures or in some darker areas. It's really nice because it gets dark, and in those places it's really pretty, but just playing the game, it is way too bright and washes out everything, so I take that off. And I also turn off adaptive fog. This does kind of the same thing, in my opinion. It just washes it out a little too much, so I uncheck mark that bitch. The Marty McFly will also be on. This is really nice if you want to take pictures, but not nice if you're just using it for a gameplay preset, because everything that your mouse isn't touching goes out of focus, which is super cool if you're taking screenshots, but not super cool if you're playing. You're not gonna be able to see shit, so turn that off. If you went ahead and you subscribed to that guy's Patreon and got the optional files, you can go back to your settings, and you're gonna go to your shaders, and you're gonna hit this little plus icon. There'll be already the normal G-Shade shaders right here. Ignore that, just hit the plus icon, and make sure you go find the compute shaders tab folder, and then just hit OK, and everything should load up properly. And if it did, you'll go back to your home and you will search RTG level illumination, and you can turn that on. And as you can see, it just makes all of the shadows in the grass a lot prettier, as well as your face and such. So it's very nice to have on. If it's a reflective surface or you're wearing reflective armor, surrounding light sources will reflect the color they are onto your armor, so it is super nice to have. I also forgot to mention, if you are using the global illumination or the RTG, it will, when you checkbox it, it will spawn under here, underneath everything that you already have checkmark. Make sure you just want to drag it underneath, or on top of everything else, sorry, besides keep UI. You do not want it to be above keep UI because it will cause some weird things going there. So make sure that it's in the right spot in your load order. If you also want a little bit of depth of field, like I have here when I zoom in, but you still want to be able to play and see everything else when you're running around the game world, you can use a DOF. So if you search for that in here, it should pop up a DOF. And same kind of goes for the RTG. You want to make sure it's above RTG, but below keep UI, and it shouldn't cause any problems. And now you have G-Shade all set up and ready to go to take pictures. But if you want to take your picture game even further, this is for you. This is for you. If I use G-Shade or G-Poser to zoom all the way in here, you can see that the lines of my hair are not all pixelated. Yours won't be like that. You'll see small pixels in your hair, and it's just not generally going to be not as clean. Same with the face and the eyes. So if you want to clean all that up and make the skin and the eyes pop a little bit more and the hair be a little bit more clean, then you're going to need something called text tools. So if we search FF14 text tools and we click on the first link that pops up, we will get here. It will be in the link in the description, so you won't have to go find it yourself. But you want to download text tools just like we downloaded G-Shade. Once it's done installing, it should automatically find your game directory, so you shouldn't have to worry about that. So now that you have text tools installed and it's all set up to your game and ready to go, you're gonna need some mods. Now, you can. There is a lot of mods for text tools, okay? Some of them are not safe for work mods, all right? Whatever you decide to install, and whatever you decide to share on the internet is not my problem. If you get banned from the game, that is your fault, not my fault. I am teaching you how to use the tools, not how to necessarily abuse them, so maybe you shouldn't go posting a bunch of lewd pictures of Y'shtola, as tempting as that might sound, over on the internet, but by all means, do whatever you want. Just know it's not, if you get banned, it's on you. But nonetheless, before you actually install any mods, you're going to actually need to make a Nexus account, so it will let you download anything, but it's super simple to set up. It's, you know, like making any other account for anything. Like I said, you can explore the Nexus and get whatever mods you want, but if you're following my guide, what I am using is the hair defined, face defined, and eyeworks. If you've never used Nexus before, it's super simple. Once you find the mod you want, you should always read the description on installation. But usually it's pretty simple. You're just going to go to the files and you're going to manual download. If it ever says Nexus download here, for Final Fantasy at least, do not do it. If you're modding Skyrim or something, it's perfectly fine. But for Final Fantasy, we want to do it ourselves. We want to know where those files are going. So always do manual download. Once you have those installed, they will each personally come in their own archive file. Whether you are using 7-zip or WinRAR, it will look different, but regardless, inside those files, you'll get the little text tool mod file in there, and that's really what we're after. So if you put these in a file or you drag them into whatever on your desktop, so we'll just take iWorks for example, and we will drag it to our desktop. What's the sound? And using text tools, we want to go to mods, import mod packs, and then you're going to want to find that file, iWorks. I am not going to click this because I already have the mod installed and I don't want it to overlap. So if you already have the mod installed, make sure you're not installing it again on accident. It can cause conflicts. and we don't want that. So make sure you only have one version of the mod installed at a time. And if it updates and you want the new updated version of the mod ever, make sure you delete the previous version before you install the new one. Just so I can show you the process here. This is what you will see. Yours might not have as many, but make sure you just have all of these check marked. They should all be check marked by default. And then you'll just want to hit import mod pack, and it will import and do its thing. Sometimes it will take longer than others, but usually it doesn't take too long. Sometimes if it's swapping out items, for example, if you're changing a hairstyle to be a different hairstyle, it will ask you what one you want to overwrite. So you might want to play with this a little bit, but for the most part, you should not have this pop up if you're just using what I told you to pop up or to use. But if it does, usually it's already set up. You just hit continue and it will run its process. If everything was installed properly, it will say that it is installed and there's 0 errors, and from here you can just hit OK. If you want to get rid of a mod or you want to turn a mod off, you will go to your mods tab, your mod list, and manage your mod list. And from here, you can go to whatever mod you want to delete or disable and click on it and hit disable. If you want to delete it, I would highly suggest that you disable the mod before you delete it. I am not sure if there's any issues with deleting it before you disable it, but just to be on the safe side, we don't want to have any conflicts. We just want all of those files out of there. And now hopping back in game, you can see that you are now absolutely glamorous. So congratulations. I also wanted to mention that if you want to toggle on and off the effects of reshade, you can hit Shift and F3 and it will toggle everything off. So, you know, if you want your game to look ugly for some reason, you should do that. And if you want to toggle it back on, you just hit it again, and now you're beautiful again. It's that simple. So that has been the tutorial on how to make your game as beautiful as mine. So have fun taking pictures. I hope to see them in my Discord, and yeah, that's all I have for today. So if you liked the video, like it, and if you loved it, consider subscribing, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.